Vacations are meant for relaxation and adventure, but sometimes they turn nightmarish. Throughout history, unsuspecting tourists have faced horrifying encounters with wildlife, sharks, crocodiles, hippos, and even big cats, resulting in tragic deaths. These shocking incidents remind us that nature, while breathtaking, can also be terrifyingly unforgiving. In February 2025, the serene beaches of Providenciales in Turks and Caicos, known for their crystal-clear waters and calm atmosphere, became the setting for a shocking and life-altering event. A 55-year-old Canadian woman, enjoying what should have been a peaceful swim in shallow waters, became the victim of a devastating shark attack. The incident unfolded unexpectedly, highlighting both the unpredictable nature of wildlife and the risks inherent even in seemingly safe, popular tourist destinations. According to reports, the woman lost both hands to the shark, one at the wrist and the other near mid-forearm, while also sustaining serious injuries to her thigh. The severity of her injuries demanded immediate medical attention, and she was stabilized locally before being airlifted back to Canada for further treatment. The attack left the local community and visiting tourists in shock, and it served as a stark reminder that even the most idyllic vacation spots carry risks when humans and wildlife intersect. The circumstances of the attack, as described by authorities, involved the tourist being in shallow waters, just a few meters from the shore, when the shark struck. It was reported that she had attempted to engage with the shark, possibly taking photographs, a common activity among tourists seeking memorable experiences in the ocean. However, this interaction, though well-intentioned, proved extremely dangerous. The shark, estimated to be around 6 feet in length, reacted instinctively, resulting in injuries that could have been fatal. While shark attacks in the Caribbean are rare, this event underscored the reality that even in areas considered safe for swimming, large marine predators are present and can be provoked unintentionally. Local authorities emphasized that the attack was not due to negligence on the part of authorities, but rather the unpredictable nature of wild animals in their natural environment. The aftermath of the attack brought both immediate and long-term consequences. Emergency services responded quickly, and the tourist was transported to Cheshire Hall Medical Center, where she received urgent care. Following stabilization, she was transported by air ambulance to Canada, where further treatment and rehabilitation could be carried out. Authorities temporarily closed the beaches near the attack site as a precaution and issued warnings to visitors to avoid shallow water interactions with marine life, particularly large predators like sharks. The incident prompted renewed discussions among local tourism and environmental agencies about safety protocols for swimmers, snorkelers, and divers, emphasizing that while encounters with marine wildlife can be fascinating, they must be approached with caution and respect. This shark attack also drew international attention, highlighting the delicate balance between tourism and nature. Media coverage recounted the harrowing details of the attack, the courage of the tourist in surviving such severe injuries, and the swift response of emergency personnel. While the story captivated the public, it also served as a cautionary tale for anyone venturing into waters inhabited by large predators. For the Canadian tourist, what began as a simple swim became a life-changing experience, reminding the world that encounters with wildlife can have profound and sometimes tragic consequences. The incident remains a stark example of how quickly a peaceful day in the ocean can turn into a fight for survival, emphasizing the importance of safety, awareness, and respect for nature's power. July 1916, the Jersey Shore, a place usually synonymous with sun, sand, and the carefree laughter of vacationers, suddenly became the setting of a chilling nightmare. That summer, the beaches were crowded with families seeking a break from city life, children splashing in the waves, and swimmers enjoying the Atlantic's warm waters. No one could have imagined that a predator from the depths of the ocean would turn what should have been a safe holiday into a scene of horror. Over just 12 days, a series of shark attacks struck along New Jersey's coastline, leaving swimmers maimed, injured, and terrified. The first victim was a young man named Charles Van Sant, who went for an afternoon swim near Beach Haven. Without warning, a shark bit him, dragging him under and causing serious injuries that would ultimately claim his life. Witnesses were horrified. What had been a normal day at the beach was suddenly a fight for survival. News of the attack spread quickly, and the idea that the ocean could harbor such danger made headlines across the country. The terror did not stop with Van Sant. Just a few days later, in a nearby town, a young boy named Miller was swimming when a shark struck, biting him severely. He survived, but only because bystanders pulled him from the water before the wounds became fatal. Other attacks followed, some leaving victims severely injured, with arms and legs maimed, highlighting the sheer unpredictability and brutality of the assaults. Scientists and the public debated what kind of shark was responsible, with speculation ranging from a lone, rogue great white to a series of smaller sharks. Whatever the case, these attacks shattered the sense of security that beachgoers had always taken for granted. The idea that a sunny day by the shore could suddenly turn deadly haunted the region for weeks, and parents hesitated to let their children near the water. The impact of the 1916 attacks extended far beyond the immediate injuries. The intense media coverage amplified fear and panic, portraying the sharks as relentless killers lurking just beneath the surface. Beaches were closed, tourism faltered temporarily, and the local economy felt the effects of this unprecedented horror. It was one of the earliest examples of a natural predator directly influencing human behavior and society's perception of danger. The attacks also left a lasting legacy in literature and film, inspiring Peter Benchley's iconic novel Jaws in 1974, which in turn became the blockbuster movie that cemented sharks as symbols of fear in popular culture. But behind the fiction, the real events of 1916 were gruesome and sobering. Real people, including children, were seriously injured, some nearly losing their lives to the sudden violence of the sea. The accounts of bystanders witnessing attacks and desperately trying to save victims remain haunting reminders that nature, however beautiful, can also be ruthlessly dangerous. Looking back over a century later, the Jersey Shore attacks serve as a stark lesson in the unpredictable power of wildlife and the fragility of human safety in nature. They are not just historical curiosities, but real stories of people who went to enjoy the ocean and instead faced life-threatening danger. These events changed how society viewed sharks forever, instilling a deep-seated wariness that continues to shape beach culture even today. Though some might find fascination in the dramatic and terrifying nature of these attacks, it's impossible to forget the very real human cost of the lives injured. The children mauled, the families left shaken. In a world where the ocean is often romanticized as a place of relaxation and fun, the 1916 shark attacks are a chilling reminder that even on a sunny day at the Jersey Shore, the line between safety and danger can be frighteningly thin. Imagine going on a wild safari adventure just outside of Paris. Jeeps, panoramic chalets, and predators lurking nearby, but with one tiny rule: follow the park's rules or nature bites back. That is exactly what tourists visiting Thoiry Zoo Safari in June 2024 were supposed to remember. The park prides itself on giving visitors a close-to-nature experience, where you can marvel at wolves, bears, and lynxes without worrying about getting too close, at least as long as you stick to the car paths and enclosed viewing areas. Enter Marie, a 37-year-old mom with a toddler who had come for a weekend escape with her family. Tourists like her are usually thrilled by the idea of being surrounded by wildlife without leaving their comfort zones, snapping photos through glass tunnels and waving at animals from their jeeps. That night, Marie's family stayed in one of the park's deluxe chalets tucked inside the American exhibit, a sprawling North American-style forest where animals roam freely. Everything seemed perfectly safe until curiosity and a bit of overconfidence changed the rules of the game. The next morning, Marie decided to go for a jog. Tourists who have visited Thoiry know it as a magical playground, where wolves and bears exist only on the other side of a fence or behind a glass wall. But here is the problem. She had strayed into a restricted safari zone, an area normally reserved for vehicles only, where the wolves roam free like they own the place, because they do. And when humans wander in, the rules are not suggestions. This is where the story turns from a pleasant tourist anecdote to something straight out of a horror survival guide. 3 wolves, masters of stealth and speed, found themselves face to face with an unarmed tourist. What happened next was gruesome. Marie was attacked, bitten on her neck, calves, and back, and left fighting for her life in a zone meant to be thrilling for observers, not deadly for participants. The wolves, acting on instinct, had turned what should have been a leisurely morning jog into a terrifying encounter that tourists everywhere would never forget. Zookeepers and emergency responders arrived quickly, pulling Marie away from the wolves. Tourists in the park later recalled hearing screams and seeing the chaos unfold. The woman was rushed to the hospital, where she was initially in critical condition, a chilling reminder that even a tourist attraction in Europe can become a place of real danger when wild predators are involved. Authorities opened an investigation, trying to understand whether this was a failure of park safety or human error. Marie later filed a complaint, emphasizing that tourists who come to parks expecting safety should not have to pay with their lives for a lapse in supervision or signage. For visitors who are used to thinking of Europe as tame and orderly, this incident served as a shocking wake-up call. Sometimes being eaten alive by wolves is not a plot in a movie. It is reality, even in a French safari park. The Thoiry wolf attack is a grim yet fascinating story, where tourism and the wild collided in the most terrifying way. It is a story about people seeking adventure, about the thrill of being close to predators, and about how quickly that thrill can turn into a nightmare. Tourists like Marie and her family are often drawn to the idea of a safari experience without leaving Europe, imagining themselves in a safe version of the African wild. But this incident proved that wild animals do not negotiate. Wolves, bears, and lynxes are instinct-driven hunters, and when humans enter their domain, the consequences can be brutal. This story is a cautionary tale for all thrill-seeking tourists. Respect the rules, stay in the safe zones, and remember that sometimes the wild bites back in the most literal sense. For Marie, what started as a family getaway ended with a life-changing attack, a reminder that even in the heart of France, tourists are not immune to the raw power of nature. The park may be beautiful, the animals majestic, and the experience unforgettable, but it also serves as a stark and terrifying reminder that in the animal kingdom, humans are not always at the top of the food chain. In the summer of 2016, what should have been a memorable family outing at Beijing Wildlife World, a drive-through safari park near Beijing, turned into a terrifying tragedy that shocked China and the world. This park, like many safari-style attractions, is designed to let visitors experience wild animals up close, driving their own vehicles through enclosures with predators like tigers, lions, and other apex wildlife. Clear warnings and signs instruct tourists to remain inside their vehicles at all times. Yet 2 women ignored these rules, a decision that would cost them dearly. On that fateful day, a 32-year-old woman stepped out of her car while inside the tiger enclosure, perhaps thinking she could interact safely with the animals or simply misjudging the danger. Within moments, a Siberian tiger pounced on her, dragging her across the enclosure and leaving her critically injured. Witnesses described the scene as horrifying, with the tiger's immense power and speed making it impossible for anyone to intervene immediately. Her actions alone were enough to trigger disaster, but tragedy compounded when her 57-year-old mother exited the car in a desperate attempt to save her daughter. The tiger attacked her instantly, and she was killed almost immediately, underscoring the brutal reality that wild predators show no mercy, even when humans act out of love or instinctive heroism. The husband and a small child in the car watched in horror, left traumatized by an event that could have happened to anyone in the wrong place at the wrong time. The incident immediately drew massive media attention, both nationally and internationally, with security camera footage capturing the terrifying moments of the attack. The video circulated widely, showing the swift, violent, and unrelenting force of the tiger, and leaving viewers shocked at how quickly curiosity or a brief lapse in judgment can escalate into a deadly encounter. Discussions and debates quickly arose around tourist responsibility versus park safety measures, with authorities emphasizing that the victims had ignored repeated warnings, while critics argued that the park should implement stricter enforcement or rethink allowing visitors to drive so close to dangerous predators. Experts repeatedly pointed out that tigers are among the most lethal predators in the world, capable of killing a human almost instantly, and that even in controlled environments they remain unpredictable. The incident became a grim case study in the limits of human control over nature, especially when tourists fail to follow established safety protocols. Beyond headlines and statistics, the attack humanized the risk. Two women, simply seeking a thrilling encounter with wildlife, became victims of their own decisions, highlighting the harsh reality that tourists can be literally eaten alive if they underestimate the danger of wild animals. It was a vivid, unsettling reminder that these animals, no matter how accustomed to humans in a park setting, are still predators first and foremost. In the aftermath, Battling Wildlife World temporarily closed for investigation, and the attack sparked broader discussions about safari park safety, visitor behavior, and public education on wildlife hazards. Authorities reinforced that visitors sign agreements acknowledging the dangers, yet the tragedy made it clear that compliance cannot be assumed. For years afterward, the incident remained a cautionary tale, cited by wildlife experts, journalists, and educators to warn that a split-second decision can have irreversible consequences when humans face apex predators. The story continues to resonate because it blends ordinary human behavior with extraordinary danger. Tourists visiting a park for entertainment, ignoring rules they were warned about, and paying the ultimate price. While safari parks can offer extraordinary educational and recreational experiences, the Battling Tiger attack of 2016 serves as a chilling reminder that wild animals, even when behind enclosures, are capable of killing humans instantly. It emphasizes the importance of respect, caution, and adherence to safety guidelines for anyone interacting with wildlife. The event remains one of the most haunting examples of tourists being attacked and eaten alive, leaving a permanent mark on the discussion of wildlife tourism and safety around the world. David Jewell was the kind of person who lived life on full throttle, the quintessential adventurer who never let the ordinary get in the way of the extraordinary. An Australian who had built a successful life in Switzerland, he was known for running cafes, burger bars, and delis in the ski town of Villars-Grillon, bringing the vibrant flavors of Australia to the snowy Alps. But it wasn't just the culinary world where David sought excitement. He was also an adrenaline junkie, a man drawn to the sea with the same intensity he brought to life on land. When he traveled, he wasn't the kind of tourist who stayed on the beach with a cocktail. No, David and those like him were the tourists who chased adventure, the ones who wanted to feel the wind in their face, the rush of the waves beneath them, and the thrill of doing something that made every heartbeat feel louder. On that fateful day in New Caledonia, David was kite surfing in a turquoise lagoon, a paradise that seemed perfect for the kind of adventure he lived for. The sun was shining, the water sparkling, and the world seemed exactly as it should be for a day of unforgettable fun. He and his fellow tourists set out with laughter, high spirits, and GoPros strapped to their chests, expecting only excitement and stories they could tell friends back home. They were chasing memories, not danger. But the ocean has a way of reminding even the most experienced and careful visitors that nature cannot be negotiated with. In the blink of an eye, what had begun as a thrilling holiday activity turned into a nightmare. The ocean, with its calm surface and seemingly playful waves, concealed a predator, a reminder that the idyllic image of a tropical vacation can sometimes hide an unforgiving reality. Tourists like David, people unfamiliar with the specific dangers of the region, suddenly found themselves in a situation no one prepares for on a brochure. The shark attack was swift, violent, and completely unexpected. What started as a joyful adventure became a life-or-death struggle, a stark illustration of how easily the line between fun and fatal can be crossed in the natural world. It was a moment that underscored the vulnerability of tourists, who often place trust in their surroundings and the assumption that paradise is safe. Despite rescue efforts, David succumbed to the injuries sustained during the attack, a tragic end for someone who had embraced life with such boldness. His friends and fellow tourists were left in shock, their thrilling day of adventure forever marked by loss. A reminder that sometimes the risks are real, immediate, and deadly. The story of David Jewell is a somber lesson wrapped in a tale of adventure. It shows how tourists, no matter how experienced or careful, can be completely unprepared for the raw power of nature. While vacation brochures promise memories, laughter, and Instagram-worthy moments, the reality is that the natural world operates on its own terms. For David, a man who lived with courage and embraced life fully, the ocean offered both exhilaration and a fatal unpredictability. His death sent shockwaves through the community he had built in Switzerland, and the wider world of adventure seekers who saw themselves in him. It is a stark reminder to anyone chasing thrills that while adventure is exhilarating, respect for nature and awareness of real dangers are essential. Tourists venturing into unfamiliar environments may feel invincible, but David's story is a sobering example of how quickly paradise can turn perilous, how rapidly a moment of joy can become a moment of tragedy, and how life's unpredictability often leaves even the bravest unprepared. Adventure has its price, and for some that price is tragically final.